Hi, I'm Nicolas Longuet, and my research sits at the intersection of political economy, environmental economics, and empirical industrial organization. The first pillar of my research focuses on class realignment. Blue-collar voters who once formed the reliable base of left-wing parties have moved away from these parties in significant numbers over the recent decades. In my job market paper, I ask whether these changes are driven by evolving voter preferences or by shifts in what parties offer to voters. To address this question, I develop and estimate an equilibrium model of US House elections that allows me to decompose the observed changes in voting behavior into demand-side factors driven by voters and supply-side factors driven by parties. I find that changes on the supply side have been a key driver of realignment. In particular, parties have polarized twice as much on cultural issues as they have on economic issues. And that has triggered less educated voters' departure from the Democratic Party. In contrast, changes happening on the demand side have pushed in the opposite direction, bringing less educated voters closer to the Democrats than they would have been without changes in preferences. In a companion paper, I dive deeper into the historical roots of this realignment. We show that starting in the late 70s, the Democratic Party began shifting away from pre-distribution policies, such as the minimum wage and strong labor unions, and instead favored redistributive policies. While voter preferences on these dimensions have remained fairly stable, this shift on the supply side has been a key driver of blue-collar voters' realignment toward the Republican Party. We explain this change on the supply side by collecting new data on the structure of campaign finance and examining the influence of different party factions. Some of my recent work and current research agenda focus on the political economy of climate policies. While there is little disagreement about the projected cost of climate change among scientists and the need for ambitious climate policies, many environmental initiatives face strong democratic opposition. In several projects, I examine the drivers of voters' low support for environmental policies. In particular, in a recent working paper, we estimate a full equilibrium model that disentangles voter preferences and candidates' environmental positions into three components: underestimation of climate change effects, overestimation of mitigation costs, and finally, a potential ideological gridlock. Overall, in my research, I have also studied ownership concentration in the news media industry, innovation and diffusion of policies across US states, and the nationalization of local politics. Altogether, my work aims to deepen our understanding of how political, economic dynamics shape policy, environmental and societal outcomes. And I look forward to building on this agenda in the years ahead. Thank you.